Well, welcome everyone to another episode of Startups and Dragons. We're here with Orrett Davis, the founder of Mighty Orbit. Welcome, Orrett.
Hey, thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
Why don't we start? We always like to start. Just tell us what does Mighty Orbit do, and who's the customer that you serve?
Yeah, perfect. So Mighty Orbit, we are our digital marketing agency focused on driving demand generation programs for our customers. So basically, we help our customers capture intent and convert those prospects into revenue, right? And we generally work with B2B startup and technology companies in the digital health space. We also work with SaaS companies as well too, and a couple of early stage startup companies. So generally, if you're in B2B tech, SaaS, or digital health, we'll work with you.
Awesome. And marketing is something so many companies struggle with. Is that why you're drawn to this particular problem, or how did you decide to get into digital marketing in particular?
Yeah, it's funny. I was organizing several events like years ago, and really drawn into the kind of the growth hacking of being able to drive awareness to these events back in the very early days of Facebook. Fell in love with that kind of mix of marketing and technical and like hacking, and really drew me overall to like the world of marketing. And so now I've kind of just dived full on in, and I've worked with like the first marketer at a couple of early companies that have gone on to get acquired or raise like millions of dollars in funding. So it's been a very interesting space to be in over the last couple of years.
Awesome. What do you think is one of the top mistakes people make when it comes to marketing when they're just getting started? I know
start
a lot. If you had to pick one that you wish, like, is it that people start marketing before they kind of have a plan, or like what's kind of the biggest blunder that people out there can maybe think about who are starting to come up with their marketing strategy?
I actually think the biggest blunder that folks make is not starting marketing soon enough. Like they start it too late. Like I don't believe in stealth mode startups. Like you should be able to drive and captivate an audience well before you launch a product, before you launch a business. So I think the biggest mistake is like starting marketing efforts like way too late in the process. Like the whole goal is to build an audience, to capture that audience. And then that way you have a built-in audience. That way, when you do launch your restaurant, when you do launch your startup, when you do launch whatever product or service you already have a couple of people that are actively engaged with what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And then here, you either get a handicap, we flip a coin, and you get tails. We've been on a head streak. So what's your greatest weakness? You actually get -2 at the end when you encounter the dragon, unfortunately.
Oh wow. My greatest weakness. That's always the hardest one to answer.
It's the harder of the two.
It's definitely the harder of the two. I think my greatest weakness, I'm a really good person when it comes to like the big picture planning and like that thought process, but I'm not always the most like organized. Like project management, that's not my thing at all. And that's where I have to rely on other people to help me with that.
Also, yeah, self-awareness is the key. And then
Yeah.
one thing business owners struggle with a lot is when's the right time to grow. So how do you know when is the right time to either hire that additional person or take on a new client? What's the metrics, or what's your line of thinking when you're like, okay, it's time to grow?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm like going through this right now. And I think the right time to grow your business, or how do you know when is the right time to grow your business? This is also another tough one. I think for me personally, the time to grow in terms of like team size is before you are roadblocked, right? And what I mean by that is, I run an agency, so I don't want to ever have to turn away clients because we can't we can't like fulfill our role or like do the customer like execution. So the time for us to grow like is, a month or 2 months before then. That way we never bump up on that roadblock. Right. And I think it's the same thing for a lot of businesses is like, how do you plan
Kind of capacity planning.
capacity? Yeah. So like, how do you plan 3 or 6 months ahead of time? And how do you put like systems and processes in place? That way, you can continue to raise the bar of where you're blocked.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't have to continue to do that roller coaster dip of I can take on this extra work. I can't take on this extra work. I can take on this extra work. Hopefully with the right systems, like that curve gets higher and higher and higher where you can take on all the work. Right.
A lot of people fall into that trap of, oh, well, it's going to take me time to train somebody, and because they don't have policies and procedures and things. And yeah, I'm totally with you there. And then obviously it's a stressful game. Do you have any tips for other founders trying to stay mentally, physically healthy? How do you do it?
Yeah, this is a great one, and I think this year has really emphasized how important like mental health is, how like your own self-care is, and I'm a firm believer of like setting aside like part of the day just for you, and like uh, accepting the fact that you may need like a day off, and it's okay to like admit like today I didn't do the work that I need to do, and that's okay, and giving yourself permission, allowing you to have that freedom. In terms of like a routine, basically every morning, the first thing I do before any work, I do Headspace, and I've started to do like their Headspace 360 program where I've gone from 10 minutes of meditation to 20 minutes to 30 minutes now, and I'm in the 20-minute phase. So that's been incredibly helpful. And then overall, I make sure that I try and work out at least three days a week at a minimum. And then try and mix in other running, mountain biking, and stuff like that, just to make sure I'm physically fit.
That sounds like a very good way to do it. I need to do those things. That's why I always ask the question. Yeah. I can't even imagine sitting still for 30 minutes. But maybe that means that I need to try it. So now we're at the part of our journey where we meet the wizard. You can give advice to your younger self.
Oh, wow.
And we roll only in one category. So you're going to get a 1. I don't think we've ever gotten a 1, maybe. So sales. If something you know about sales, you wish you knew in the past, what would you tell yourself about sales?
This is a good one. I'm not a salesperson, right? And that's also probably another weakness of mine. But I think one of the biggest things I've learned just about sales overall is like really getting to know and understand the pain points of your customers, and then like interviewing them, not only your existing customers, but your prospects, and really, really honing in on the words that they use, the messaging, so that way you can speak in their language. I think that's the biggest thing that I've like learned. And that awfully like that has, it's a sales thing, but it has my marketing like spin on it as well too. Is like know your customers.
Yeah. I like that. I think sometimes not being a salesperson is actually a benefit at sales. Like people, I like the quote. I forget who said it, but people like to buy things, they don't like to be sold. So sometimes it's a benefit. And then what's a challenge you're facing right now that you're trying to solve? Is there something on the horizon that you're like, if we could get over this mountain, we're kind of at a new level?
Yeah, I think this goes back to the earlier little piece that we talked about. But for us, it's really figuring out that process of scale and getting like systems in place, right? So whether that's standard operating procedures, whether that's like the team, my goal for this year is my thing was all about scale process, and like that's kind of the phase that we're in right now. Is how do I step myself away more from the day to day and align myself more on the strategic thinking So that's kind of like the biggest phase that
Yeah.
or biggest challenge that we're in right now, which I'm sure a lot of companies
Yeah.
are experiencing that, right?
What-
It's a hard thing to do.
when I used to do business consulting, and that's a very common challenge. And one advice I used to give to clients that was really effective was if you're familiar with Loom, where you can make those desktop videos, every
Yep.
time you do something, make a Loom for it. And before you know it, you kind of have all these videos, and you can organize them in a Google Drive. It's nobody reads
Yep.
the 100-page process manual, but people do watch. We'll watch a video, and we're kind of like custom. We're kind of accustomed to like going on YouTube and things like that, and watching videos. So we're at the end here. We always get a chance to give away some money to help other founders and entrepreneurs on our platform. So we roll a 20-sided die here, and tell me when to stop.
Stop.
All right, 12. You got -2 before, so you're at 10. So, but you do win $25. You escape the dragon,
Nice.
which is cool. And then I know a lot of people in our community are business owners, are founders, work for companies that have marketing struggles. So maybe take like another, some time to tell people where can they find you if they're looking for marketing or to check out more about Mighty Orbit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the easiest way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I'm most active there. I try my best to post weekly marketing tips and videos. So just find me on LinkedIn, Orrett Davis. Probably the only Orrett Davis in the world that you'll be able to easily find me. Outside of that, visit our website at mightyorbit.co. If you're looking for any kind of B2B marketing, demand generation, always looking to help out companies in need.
Awesome. And we've gotten a chance to also collaborate with Orrett, and was an amazing experience. So if you're looking for marketing, connect with him. Thanks everyone for coming, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.